Hello friends, for today's video I'm going to be doing the Finally Fall book tag. With it now officially being the fall season, I thought it'd be fun to go through some of my favorite glasses that are from glassesusa.com that I think just look really nice with a lot of the sweaters that a lot of us love to wear in the fall season. So if you're like me, you need glasses to see, but there are certain frames that I just associate with fall. I just associate with certain texture and certain patterns that I see on a lot of fall clothing, and I don't know if anybody else is like that, but the frames that I'm going to show I think are great for those sorts of things. This pair, I always wear these because I truly think they go with everything. They're so comfortable, they're clear, so you don't have to worry about matching them. Is it cool tone? Is it warm tone? You don't have to worry about that. I love the shape, I love the size, and I love how neutral they are. Beyond that though, I also love this particular pair, which was actually picked out by all of you, and I just think it's kind of that perfect classic black, but with a hint more to it. There's just something that makes it a little bit extra. I think that the shape going out just a tiny bit on the ends gives it a little bit more flair, and I just think it being kind of this shiny but not too big pair of glasses makes it so that it goes with a lot of flannels really nicely, or if you want to dress up a little nicer, maybe you like to wear a lot of black in October and you just like the kind of bundled up look. I think that these are fantastic for that, and also it's just a good pair of glasses all around for any time of year. If you like the warmer tones, these are fantastic. This is actually a pair of transitions lenses, and because of the light shining on me, you can see the tint actually changing because I did get it with a kind of rose gold color almost to it, kind of a pinkish tint. So as you go outside, as you would expect from these kinds of glasses, they get darker, and you can get this frame with transitions or without. You can do that for a ton of them. You can get prescription sunglasses, you can get blue light blocking lenses, and if you've ever been nervous about trying on glasses that you get online, they actually have a try on feature, so you can move around and it will track your movements and show you what the glasses look like on. Besides these three pairs, they of course have a ton of variety in the shapes and the sizes and the colors. They're also much more affordable than you would typically find in a lot of glasses retailers. They deliver directly to your home, and I was using glassesusa.com long before I started working with them. I legitimately love their glasses. I love their service. I think it's fantastic. I'm a little bit scared of other people, so I don't like having to go outside my house to get things like glasses, and I love that I don't have to do that. So if you're an introvert like me, if you don't want to leave the comfort of your own home, if you like the idea of doing the online try-on feature and you like the more affordable prices, definitely check out glassesusa.com. I'll have them linked. They have a deal for the next 24 hours, so if you're interested in that, I'll have that in the description bar. A big thank you to them again for working with me today, for continuing to work with me. Thank you so much, glassesusa.com. Now on to our video. The very first question is a book with a vivid setting. And I've read a lot of books that have been really fantastic in establishing their worlds and the general feeling of the atmosphere, but the one that stands out to me the most would be Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. And on top of having a great setting, it has two different phenomenal settings because you are looking at two characters in two different places, and you're exploring those places, you're exploring how those places affect the characters, and then you're seeing those characters have to try and navigate each other's worlds. So I think that that alone made it feel very immersive, but on top of all of that, Yumi also, it feels like sci fantasy, and since reading it, I now want so many more sci fantasy stories or just fantasy worlds that feel very different than your typical fantasy world, just where there's a lot of creativity and amazing descriptions involved in the writing. I also have to give credit to Witch Hat Atelier. I feel a little bit like I'm cheating by saying Witch Hat Atelier because it's a manga, so there's a lot of things drawn that you get to look at, which is a little different, but the artist deserves all of the praise. If you haven't checked out Witch Hat Atelier, it starts out feeling very sweet and like it's going to be just so cozy, and it is, but it gets quite dark. The themes get really heavy and it explores those themes phenomenally. But the art, even if you don't end up loving the story or if you aren't that gripped by how it's exploring the themes, the art is so, so beautiful. It's so whimsical. It's so just, there's so many details to how everything is drawn. It's amazing. I don't think I've come across too many manga with better art, and it needs an anime because I don't even know if an anime would be able to capture the art. It's just so good. The next one is a story that has to do with death or grief. For this one, I'm going to mention the book Mame. This was one of my favorite things that I've picked up this year. It is contemporary. I know I typically read fantasy, but this one was contemporary, and it follows a young woman who her father is ill and she is his caretaker, and she is very young, so she's trying to balance caring for her father and then also trying to live her own life and find her place in the world. And then a lot of the story is about grief and how do you move on from that. I really resonated with so many elements of this story, so it hit very hard for me. I think that coming of age aspect of the story, even if you're an adult and you feel like you're pretty confident in your life and yourself, I think there's something to be said of that feeling of starting over after the loss of a loved one or a lot of other losses in life. So I can't really recommend this one enough, but it is a very difficult book to read. It's quite emotional. Also, The Thorns Remain. I've talked about this one a lot and how I think a lot of the story, the themes are about grieving and moving on, and not just grieving a loved one, but the life you thought you were going to have. And I think it does it so beautifully, and it utilizes some folklore elements to accomplish that. So really, really love it. It's, in my opinion, my most underrated book I've read this year. I just think it deserves a much higher average rating. The next one is about a nonfiction you've picked up, and I haven't read too many nonfiction this year, so I'm going to mention a documentary, and that would be Our Planet. I found out that Our Planet had a season 2 this year, and watched, I believe it was just 4 episodes, and it's primarily about the migration of animals, and it was fascinating as always. I love Our Planet. The first season, I mean, it's very devastating, and this particular season with all of the migration, a lot of it's like, and then this is where animals go to have their young, and then other animals figure this out, and then they hang out there when the young hatch or are born so that they can eat them. It's very sad to watch, but it's also very well done, and it's shot so well. After that, we have a fictional family or friend group that you want to be a part of. The Forgers from Spy Family. I would love to be a part of that family, even though Yor's brother is so odd, but still, I'm like, how would I fit into that family? And I just love all of them so much. Anya is so bizarre, and Bond is so cute, and Lloyd is great, and Yor is great. They're all great. I just love them so much. So I want to be a part of that family. I don't have any cool things to bring to the table, though. I would just exist. After that, it's a stack of fall-colored spines, so I'll go ahead and insert that.
Luna, would you like to help me make a fall stack? I will give you a treat.
Okay, Luna. This is the color palette we're going for. Got it? We'll set the ones we find on this table. That way we don't have to put them on the floor.
Does that sound like a plan? Is that a good plan?
None of these are really very good. What about the cart? Let's stretch. That's a good idea. Stretching helps. We're looking for some burgundy and some red, but kind of a deeper red. So I'm thinking Red Rising, Fairy Loot Edition. Bone Shard Daughter and Bone Shard War could be good. Luna had to refresh herself with some water, but so far we have added one of the Witcher books, and we added one of the Legend books, some Crown of Feathers. So these are our purple and our reds. I think we need a brown for the transition. Luna's hard at work sniffing for the brown. Here is our final fall stack. Lots of different colors. Luna Bear left, but I think the stack turned out pretty good. Thanks for all your hard work. Question 6 is a story in which somebody is telling you a story. And for this one, it's just too obvious. The Secret Projects, specifically Tress of the Emerald Sea and Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, which I touched on earlier. We do actually find that these stories are told by another character, a world hopper from the Cosmere, and they are more so telling you the story in Tress. They do interject here and there in Yumi, but it's not quite as much, so I'm going to say Tress specifically for this one. After that, we have a creepy story. I did do a whole video dedicated to some creepy book recommendations. I've also done fall book recommendations, cozy book recommendations, and then I did some fall recs for anime, manga, video games, those sorts of things over on Full Meta Analysis, my side channel. But the one that I'm going to go ahead and pick for this would be Small Favors. It's one of my favorite creepy fantasy stories I've read. I just love the way that there's just like little creepy things that happen. It's rural, and you see the way like this small rural area, the gossip, you have to try to figure out who's actually telling the truth and who is fabricating something and who's just sharing another thing they heard and who's actually right about everything and is being really specific. And I really enjoyed that one. After that, we have something that's short and heartwarming. I mentioned Spy Family. I have to say Spy Family again because I don't think anything puts me in a better mood than Spy Family. Last year I might have said the same thing, but The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, even though I didn't read this one this year, it is short. It is so incredibly heartwarming. It's a hug in a book. So I'm going to mention that one as well. I would love to reread that one. I just think it's so wonderful. After that, an old favorite that you'd like to revisit. I've never read Redwall, and I know so many people that was their old favorite from when they were younger, and one of these days I would like to pick it up. So if you've read Redwall, let me know your thoughts on it because I definitely want to check it out at some point. The next question is, what is a reading accessory you have to have when you read? Depends on if I'm listening to an audiobook or reading something physically. I don't always have to have accessories. In fact, I don't usually do, but I guess water. I usually have some kind of water around to drink, and I love a good cozy, comfy blanket. If I'm listening to an audiobook, I really enjoy doing a puzzle, but I don't do that often. So I guess water, some kind of container of water. But anyway, I would love to know your answers to these questions, and I know I was just saying it, but I really want to know, should I try to get into Redwall? Is it something you think I would enjoy as an adult or not so much? But anyway, like I said, let me know your answers to these questions. I'll have all the other videos that I referenced linked in the description bar down below. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. If you're entering the fall season like me, I hope you have a lovely fall, and I'll see you all later. Bye.